Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with CryptoMom2, and I have a really exciting conversation that we're going to be having today about NFTs and sports and so many other things. I wanted to share with everyone who might be listening for the first time a little bit more about who I am and my background, and also what CryptoMom2 is all about. I started CryptoMom2 last June, and so it's been about a year. I'm super excited about that. And it's all about chronicling my journey in the blockchain and cryptocurrency world. And I'm learning about various platforms that individuals can go to look for cryptocurrency and altcoins and Bitcoin, as well as everything else. And for those that are new to this area, definitely like and subscribe to CryptoMom2, because I'm interviewing so many wonderful people in this area, so that way you can learn as I'm learning about non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, as well as tokenization, about farming, about DeFi, about staking, all the various terms that I had no clue were about last year. So it's been a really exciting journey. And today we are going to be talking about NFTs. And NFTs are used in a variety of ways. They're used to create art. And so people can actually post digital art on various platforms, from OpenSea to Foundation to Nifty. But you can also put music on, and you can also do things that are related to memorabilia. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, as well as a lot of other different things. So my guest today is an attorney, actually, from up in New York. And I connected with him on LinkedIn and Facebook and other platforms. And he has a really diverse background, and I'm super excited to have him on. How are you doing today, Ary?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? And as I'm going to mention to everyone, there'll be a block below our talk show. There will be links there so you can actually connect and find the NFTs. So we will be mentioning them at least 3 times, but in case you don't have a pen and paper and you're listening and you're thinking, how will I remember? Just go back to the podcast and you'll be able to click in and be able to explore everything. So Ary, why don't you go ahead and share now? I know I've been doing a lot of talking.
Not a problem. It's your show. My name is Ary Rosenbaum. I'm an ERISA attorney. I have my own practice for the last 11 years. I've been in practice for 23 years. An ERISA attorney means a retirement plan attorney, for those who don't know that. How did it all start with NFTs? A few years back, part of my practice, I decided to run my own events. I'm a big sports guy, sports memorabilia guy. I looked at some of the other retirement plan events and thought that they were very expensive for people to be part of, and this, and that. And so about 3.5 years ago, I started events at baseball stadiums around the country. Unfortunately, stopped for COVID for about a year and change, and we'll have 3 more events back in September. I'd invite other retirement plan providers to a game, but before that, a conference, and there'd be content, and then we would bring in a baseball player. We did Wrigley Field and Citi Field and Dodger Stadium and places around the country. For me, as a kid from Brooklyn, to go to Kansas City, Missouri, and go to a game and have an event there, that's not something I would ever dream of. And as a result, as part of these events, again, I would bring an athlete in, and I have a very good friend by the name of Larry Davis, who used to be a vice president at Steiner Sports, and he would help with the athlete appearances. And I started learning about NFTs, and I got an account at NBA Top Shot, buying these moments. And I still don't understand why that they're collectible, but when you sell a LeBron James moment for $1,000, and that does a pretty good crack against my HELOC balance. I reached out to my buddy Larry. I said, Larry, why don't you get involved in the NFT business? And Larry's 12 years older than I am, and he didn't understand it. So I said, okay, well, Larry, why don't we go into the NFT business? And that's how we started, along with another friend. And we started 3 Guys NFT, which is on the OpenSea platform. And, right now we have NFT basically they're NFT trading cards. Mookie Wilson, Rudy Rudiger, who is the main character of the movie Rudy in not only the movie but in real life. And I'm also doing wrestling NFTs with a guy by the name of John Arezzi, who's just wrote a wrestling book about his time as a photographer on WWF shows in the 1970s. And right now we're in the works with another wrestler and another well-known Twitter personality, and just creating these NFT trading cards. And of course, there's so many hurdles involved with that, and trying to avoid copyright issues as well. So it's a very interesting and exciting time, and it's a challenging time as well to build up traction in this business. It's a little bit different than starting your own law practice and getting traction that way. So it's very exciting and exhilarating and challenging at the same time. So
about how many NFTs do you have, and where can someone find them?
If you go to OpenSea and search for Three Guys NFT, or go to OpenSea.io/accounts/Three Guys NFT, you can see all the NFTs. We have right now about 250 that are still out there in circulation. Most of them are on a set price. And we're in the midst, probably within the next weeks, of adding some more. It's funny. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but in terms of dealing with other personalities, famous, well-known people, to come to an agreement to do an NFT is fairly easy. Of course, you would laugh, but what is the biggest stumbling block? Their attorney. Their getting back, not just the attorney getting back to me. Forget about. I had one person that we did the agreement with. His attorney was great, got back to us 1, 2, 3. I accepted all his changes, but that's actually been the most challenging part in getting the NFTs to the marketplace. So I knew you'd get a good laugh about that.
If in case I forgot to mention it, for everyone who's on CryptoMom2, my background's as an attorney, even though I'm right now a special education teacher. So I got into the NFT area because I wanted to both teach students of mine just about this wonderful area, as well as to help other artists. So I do have a question. You can, if you have the ability, right now, if your OpenSea is up, you have the ability to share screen and actually show some of the NFTs. For those that are on our podcast talk show side, you'll have to go to the YouTube side. And if for some reason they don't populate very fast, I can always show it and edit it in. But if you do, then we can also show those that are watching right now.
I could share.
Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So wow, look at this. This is phenomenal, guys. You definitely have to go to the video side of this so you can see the pictures. And so these look like they're moments in time. Is that how it was set up?
Yeah, the Andre the Giant ones, this is from John Arezzi. These are actually in video, which is the only time we've ever done a video NFT. They're 2 or 3, there are 3 matches. The first one is a guy, he wrestled a guy by the name of Buddy Wolf. Then there's Andre the Giant, Chief J Strongbow against Blackjack Lanza and somebody else. And then there's one Andre the Giant versus Professor Tanaka. These are actually video, he shot them, I think, on 8mm, so there's no sound. He didn't have the iPhone back in the day in the 1970s.
Yeah, no, not at all.
These are great shots. And then we have a couple of ones with Mookie Wilson. Mookie Wilson, of course, was with the 1986 Mets. People who know me know I'm a huge Mets fan. And we have a couple moments from Mookie from the 1986 World Series. This is his wild pitch where he ducked and didn't get hit, and that allowed for the tying run to score. And of course, eventually, again, when you have so many moments that are unsold right now.
So how do you decide how to price them?
It's, again, this is a new business, so therefore it's all, trial by fire, as I say. You see what works and what doesn't. For some of the more unique moments, we just do a set, we do a top price auction. Here now, you'll start seeing the famous Buckner error, where Bill Buckner, the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs, and that scored the winning run on Game 6 of the '86 World Series. And I mean, it's a trial by fire. It's just, it's a new business, so you're just, you know, trying your way around and see what works and just what doesn't.
So for those that are new to NFTs, sometimes you're going to have a fixed price. Sometimes there will be an auction, just like, was mentioned. Now, are these single NFTs or are they copies of the same picture? So they're multiple times.
Yeah. Basically, they run like baseball cards. Baseball
Yep.
cards, they run parallels. So, like for example, with Mookie Wilson, I think are the low more rare print, the more rare the print run, the more collectible they are. So if you have
Exactly.
one 86 print run, which is the black, it's less valuable than the gold, or which would be a 1 of 1.
Got it.
Metzer colors are orange and blue, so they're actually more rare than black. Usually black would be a more rare color, but you know, being Mets, I thought orange and blue would be interesting to do it that way. The artist is like, "You sure? Why would you not? Why wouldn't you do, you know, black is a more rare commodity?" I'm like, "It's Mets. It's blue and orange. As the method to my madness," as I say. And I think eventually we'll hit the Rudy Rudiger ones. The Mookie was just launched, so that's why we haven't had many sales. Um, but eventually we'll get to the Rudy
And
Rudiger, who, of course, was that player who was a walk-on and played in that final game, and they made a movie out of it.
that, the thing is with all these NFTs, yeah. What's great about them is you can collect it and own it and then resell it. So this, like you said, being a playing card, you can exchange it with other people who might also have an interest. So this is, how do you decide what collectibles to put up on your collection?
It's a lot, you know, really depends. Again, with John Arezzi, who did the wrestling one, he owned the rights to the video. The WWE even acknowledges that he has the rights to the first Andre the video. So there was a recent episode of the A&E WWE Hidden Treasures. They actually had to license the footage from him. That was easy from a copyright aspect to run because he essentially owns the copyright to it. For Mookie Wilson NFTs, you have to be wary of copyright law, be wary of the rights of Major League Baseball in not only the footage, in the pictures, but also the logos. So what you do is you do a workaround. You work with artists to do artist renditions and make sure that there's no issues concerning logos, trademarks, and copyright, and do it that way, and work with the athlete and have them approve it. So for example, today I'm working on a new NFT. It's another wrestling personality. And I had instructions to my artist, don't do a specific logo, keep it out of the picture. And of course they designed it with the logo, and I asked them, please take it out. I don't need a cease and desist
Right.
letter from the WWE. So there's always, that's always a concern. And, for those people studying in law school, this might be a new area of law to concentrate in because it's quite new and it's quite novel and it's quite fascinating, and you're trying to keep yourself out of trouble. And that's the beauty of being an attorney and being an NFT creator, is you can think as an attorney and avoid situations which could be a problem. I mean, I see people on some of these platforms, trying to create LeBron James NFTs, and sometimes I get presented with art photographers. I was presented with a photographer who took a well-known album cover from the 1970s, and could I do an NFT of that? And I'm like, unless you have permission from the band, we have in certain states a right to publicity, and that could be an issue. And so there are just a lot of legal aspects that thankfully as an attorney I could avoid as an NFT creator.
So did you have to do additional research in the copyright area when you started to get involved with NFTs, or was this something that you were already familiar with?
I was familiar with it from the background law school, but it's always, again, it's a new type of item, and see whether it's kind of like the old days with the VCR. There was
Yeah.
litigation concerning that. There's a very famous Supreme Court case about the VCR. And so with anything burgeoning in the marketplace, you have to read up and make sure that it's still good law and how is it applicable and whatnot. So yeah. And I've talked to other attorneys about it as well. So
it is very interesting. I mean, the more that I follow both within the bar associations as well as, you know, other legal writings within the NFT space and cryptocurrency space, things that were really not talked about a few years ago now are being looked at as possible areas that attorneys and individuals need to know more about. You know, so it's interesting to see how what was once considered something that, you know, was just for a few now, because it's becoming more mainstream, now lawyers are looking at it and other individuals as well. So why don't you go ahead again, before we get farther into our conversation, share with everyone where they can go to check out the cards and become a collector.
I think if you see the screen, it's OpenSea point period IO /accounts / Guys NFT. That's where they can find it.
Yep,
That's where
for sure.
all of it. And then of course they could search by the collection as well. There's that function.
So where do you see yourself going with the collectibles? Where do you think that, what kind of collectibles do you think that you might have down the road?
We're working on a well-known Twitter personality who has about 400,000 followers. He runs like a comedy type tweet Twitter page, I guess that's what you call it these days. He's done a lot of commercialization of that Twitter handle. And again, his attorney is very slow. I've had that NFT done for about 3 weeks now. So I'm waiting for that. And that's, again, somebody with a big social media following. So I think that it would catch fire.
Yeah.
And then I'm working with another wrestling personality that I talked to last week who's very, very well known in not only wrestling, but in another sports field. We're doing 2 NFTs to explore both areas, including, you know, one sport that doesn't have any trading card exposure, which is surprising. It's a national racing type circuit that never had a trading card. So now we're going to go into the NFT trading card based on their personality. So we have that, and we have works with other players and whatnot down the road, including some well-known actors as well. It's a slow process to talk to people and try to convince them because, again, you know, you're dealing with people who don't get it. And, you know, it's not for them to get. It's the same thing. I collect a lot of vintage trading cards, and I have cousins who swear that, you know, their age, they like non-fungible, you know, assets. I'm a fungible type of guy.
Yeah.
But it's not for me to understand. If there's a marketplace out there, there's cater to the marketplace. Don't say no, as long as it makes sense.
So for the, sorry to interrupt, for the artist or the sports person, do they get a residual from the NFT when it gets passed on from one to another?
Yeah, they do. You can set it in OpenSea that there'll be a residual whenever it's you know, you're exchanging hands, and it's disclosed. Every, you know, personality is different, but it's usually their agreement is based on final sale. I think that that's the only fair thing for them and for us. It creates incentivizes them to publicize it. They're getting a flat fee. You know, there's no incentive for them to really push it out there.
No, I agree with you. I wanted to bring that up in case there were those that were listening that might not know how it works in terms of the residual. So how are you sharing this out? I know that I'm really grateful that you're on CryptoMom2 and that I'm able to share and let people know, but where else, or how are you getting the word out that you have these unusual trading cards?
Twitter, Facebook right now, you know, it's a really interesting market. And you know, marketing has always been a big part of my career, especially starting my own practice. It's just a different animal. You know, how to find your marketplace is obviously a lot different as an risk attorney as opposed to an NFT creator. And it's just trying to find the right mix. Right now, it's concentrated on Facebook and Twitter. And you have to be wary. I always jokingly say when I started my own law practice, you start to realize there are a lot of people out there in the marketing realm who just, only goal is to separate you from your money. Uh, I had that, I had that, I remember my time starting out my own practice 11 years ago. People thought I was crazy. And I remember hiring a PR guy, and he didn't understand what an ERISA attorney was. So he's like, well, maybe you should network with one of my other clients. They're a slip and fall attorney. I'm like, Ron, they can't get me clients. You don't understand what I do. And when we did this NFT business, we hired a PR firm and, got us some recognition on a couple of, well-known Twitter handles. But he didn't understand what we did as well. So I said, after a week, I said to my friend who hired him, like, you got to let this guy go. He doesn't understand what we're trying to do, where our marketplace is, and whatnot. So it's just, being a new business, it's very difficult to get the word out and trying to find the right mix of people that would be interested in the product. And it's, again, trial by fire, and you see what works and what doesn't. And as long as you don't devote so much resources into something that doesn't work, you'll be okay.
So I learned about NFTs when I saw that Yale did an auction and raised money off of an NFT that was on OpenSea. So I know that, different universities and charities are looking at this as a way to raise money. Have you thought about um, maybe approaching them to a name nonprofit to maybe partner to do to share that area and kind of give you different exposure?
We've thought about that, and it's something I have to follow up with my buddy Larry, because Larry's got a lot of relationships with some well-known charities in my area, and that's creates a lot of goodwill and brings eyeballs and does a lot of good.
Yeah,
I
yeah, for sure.
certainly thought, I used to be involved in fundraising for a lot of other civic groups in the past, and to me, it's a no-brainer for them to delve into that area. It just brings interest and could bring somebody who maybe never contributed for and go out and buy something and support a great cause.
Yeah, that's well, definitely. I know that you and I are going to have continuing conversations, and I'll definitely, share other ideas that might help promote, because I think NFTs and the creativity, is something that more and more people are going to become involved with. It is definitely a new market, but not so new, because I mean it's been around for about 6 years now, but it just has recently gained traction. But that's true with a lot of things. Sometimes it's been around and then it has to just become popular, and then all of a sudden say, oh, that was an overnight success. No, there was actually a foundation there before.
Like the first time I think I was in law school and I found Amazon when it was just a bookstore, and
That's
wow,
right.
that was
I
a
remember
great
that.
day. Yeah, like 95 or 96. I think if you go into my account, you actually find the first thing I bought, which I think was like the films of Al Pacino or something like that.
Amazing, just amazing how, over time things evolve and change. It'll be interesting to see where 10, 15, 20 years down the road, where the NFT world goes. So, any last minute thoughts that you want to share with the listeners, including one more time where they can find the memorabilia? And everyone who's listening, know that his collection is going to be growing, so definitely visit it often, visit it every few months, and that way you can see what's there, and there's going to always be something that will catch your interest. But what other things would you like to share with them?
No, I mean, it's a very like I said, it's a very interesting time and very exciting business to me. This is no different than any type of burgeoning business. This is no different than the .com era from 20 some odd years ago, or even back in the day when I had somebody in my school whose parents had this little thing called video rentals that they added to their stationery store in Brooklyn, New York. Uh, it's just an interesting time, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be part of it. And that's what's exciting is to be within it and a part of it and educate others so they can join too. So thank you so much for being on. And everyone definitely like and subscribe so that way you can stay tuned for more episodes of Crypto Mom 2. And we'll talk soon. Thank you.